Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Baker's Chatcast. And today we are joined by the one and only Shaun Wallace, also known as the Dark Destroyer, from The Chase, and I hope you enjoy. Hello, Shaun. Thank you for joining us and giving us your time today. How have you been throughout the last few months with lockdown and stuff?
Well, Baker, it's been tough for me, just like it's been for everybody else. But you've got to learn to cope and adapt, and that's what I've had to do. I've still continued to film, fortunately, with The Chase. Most of my cases have moved online, although I haven't been able to actually do trials because, as you know, that I'm still a practicing barrister. And what I've been doing is using some of my time usefully to actually, send out tweets and messages and videos to my fans and hosting quizzes. Last night I hosted a quiz for a radio station in Cheltenham to try and raise money for their organisation. So that's how I spent my time in the last year or so.
And I bet it's sort of good for you as well, like you get to have that distraction and have that bit of normality with filming The Chase and things.
Yeah. As I say, it's been really, really good to get back into the studio. And obviously, I don't know if you've seen the episodes on the Daily Show that we've actually got the social distancing glass panels between the contestants. So, we've tried to make it as normal as we possibly can. We've also done Beat the Chaser. And although we haven't had the studio in the audience, again, we've incorporated the elements of social distancing to make sure that it's a safe environment for not only the contestants, but for chasers and Bradley alike.
And we'll get on to that later, as that is a brilliant show. And obviously, you've been filming some more. But first of all, today, Shaun, I would like to know how all of your interest in quizzing actually started. Obviously, you won Mastermind back in 2004.
Yeah.
You've appeared on a finalist. You've appeared on the first series of Are You an Egghead as a finalist and plenty more. But where did your big interest in quizzing first start?
Well, I don't know if you know or not, but 3 years ago, I released my autobiography called Chasing the Dream. And as a young boy, I had three passions in life. My love for wanting to be a lawyer, my love of football, and my love of learning. And in relation to quizzing, I suppose it started back in the 60s when I used to watch those programs like University Challenge. I watched the very first Mastermind in 1972, and I was fascinated how people could put themselves through the ordeal of sitting in a black chair, answering questions by an intimidating question master in front of a studio audience, the world watching. And I just wanted to do that. So I used to love watching quiz shows as a kid. And in 1999, I decided to get off my sofa and see how well I could do.
And your specialist subject was the FA Cup final, if I'm right.
Well, that was the actual final. My specialist subjects were football-related subjects. So in the first round, I did Champions League finals. In the second round, because England were playing in Euro 2004 in Portugal, I did all of England's matches at the European Championship from 1963 to 2004. And because I lived close to Wembley Stadium, I did FA Cup finals since 1970.
And obviously, you're a massive Chelsea fan, aren't you? So
I certainly am. We're playing now at this present moment in time against Leeds, so we need to win that game to hopefully go third.
Following on from this, it goes without saying your role as a chaser requires a lot of knowledge. But what I'd like to know is, how do you revise? Do you watch other quiz shows, read a lot of books? Like, how do you develop such a wide range of knowledge for what you need to know for the show?
Well, the knowledge has been built up over years, Baker, because obviously I've always had a passion and a love of learning. So as a kid, my favourite subject at school was history. And most of the top quizzes in the world, the reason why they're good at quizzing is because they're good at history. Because history tells the beginning, the origins of society, and you've got the origins of music, the origins of science, and so on and so forth. So if you've got a love of history and where it originates from, then you have an appreciation of the origins of other subjects. And if you have an interest in it, then you'll follow it. So that's what I've done, really.
Because personally, I enjoy history, and like you say, it can lead you on to all other subjects. Because, like you say, you get the first stuff of music and science and football, and like you say, it can lead you on to other subjects.
Absolutely, that's right. And that's how I basically develop my knowledge, I suppose. You asked me the question, how do I revise? we try to keep ourselves contemporary, you know, in relation to up-to-date stuff. It's pointless me revising stuff like what happened in 1066, because I already know that. So, you know, all the chasers, we try to keep ourselves as contemporary as we possibly can. The latest songs, the latest films, who won this award, who won that award, and so on and so forth. So that's how we keep ourselves fresh, because our body of knowledge in relation to what we do know in our specialist subjects will never ever change.
Because I just find it amazing how you lot just know so much, because I'm a massive fan of the show. I watch it most nights, and I just find it incredible how you know so much stuff.
Yeah, and that's what it is. As I say, you know, we've all come together as a team. You know, we first started in 2009. It was originally me and Mark. Then Anne joined, and Paul joined 3 years later. Then Jenny joined 4 years after that. Then now we've got the sixth chaser in Dara. So I think the common denominator for all of us, you know, we just got a passion for quizzing. We've got a passion for competing in quizzes. And, you know, we brought that to the table. And, you know, my transferable skills as a barrister, where I'm taught to think on my feet, taught to react under pressure, taught to research, and taught to be fearless, you know, that's helped me to, in my professional quizzing career.
And obviously, like you said there, it first started in 2009. How did ITV first approach you and ask you if you wanted to take on the role as a chaser?
Well, as you mentioned in your introduction to me, in 2008, well, when I won Mastermind in 2004, I retired from quizzing, because obviously winning the best quiz show probably in the world is, you can't go anywhere other than that. So I retired from quizzing. Then I was asked to come out of retirement by BBC, because they were looking for a new egghead. And I got all the way to the grand final, and I lost to Barry Simmons. And at the time, it was a devastating loss for me, because that was my first defeat in a quiz show on TV in nearly 4 years. Yeah. So that's why I sat in my car for the best part of an hour, you know, reflecting on my life, listening to Steely Dan's greatest hits. And that's what prompted me to actually eventually write my autobiography. And although that took me 10 years to write, what then happened in the autumn of 2008, I got a phone call from ITV asking me to actually come into for an audition for what they considered to be an exciting new quiz show concept. So they asked me 30 questions. I got 28 out of 30. They asked me what I was doing quizzing wise. I said, look, I've really retired. I've gone back to sort of practicing law now. And I said, oh, by the way, I'm on Are You an Egghead? They're showing my performances on Are You an Egghead? So they asked me how well I did. I said, I'm not telling you, use that as my audition. And I left. So when they broadcast the final of Are You an Egghead on the 2nd of December 2008, the following day I was in front of an ITV commissioning panel trying to convince them of this exciting new game show concept. So I'm the world's first chaser. So I was working on that show by myself for 3 months. I had to go through 3 separate auditions. Once they were satisfied with the concept, they decided to do a pilot. So they then recruited Mark Lebet, and the pair of us went up to the old Granada studios in Manchester. We did a 10-show pilot, and the rest, they say, is history.
And he won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire back in 2004, I think it was.
Well, he didn't win it. He won £32,000. If you win Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you actually win £1 million. So Mark's been on that show. You know, Jenny, he's also been a winning contestant as part of a team on Only Connect. Jenny Ryan's also been a winning contestant as a team in Only Connect. So, you know, we've all had various different TV experiences and various different game shows.
Obviously, it's a massive show now, The Chase, but when it first started, did you ever think it would become as big as it has become?
Well, when myself and Mark did the pilot, Mark did the very first show. He lost the very first show. I won the very first show. And because it was such an exciting victory by 2 seconds, I knew this was going to be a very good concept. Mark then played the next show. He wiped out all 4 contestants. I lost. He won. I won. He won. I won. And we just knew that this show had legs. And the reason why it had legs is because they chose the right host in Bradley. So that's when we knew that we stood a good chance of getting a second series commissioned. And when they brought on Anne, that was a masterstroke, really, because obviously with a sort of grumpy governess sort of persona, it was a winning combination of the sort of beast a cold assassin in a dark destroyer and a Miss Trunchbull-like figure in the governess. It was a winning combination.
Because
Sorry,
oh, you're all right. But what I was going to say was, obviously, in the last year or two, you've had like a few spin-off shows with Beat the Chasers, which we'll get onto, and also the road trip that you did in January, which was good. But what I'd like to know is, do you have a favourite memorable moment or episode of The Chase?
I would imagine I would always go back to the very first show I did because I won by 2 seconds. They put me up against a really good team, and it just goes to show that I could cope under pressure. We were playing for a lot of money at the time, so for me that will always be my favourite because it proved that show was a winner.
And obviously, it's a great moment for you as well because you were like you say, the first ever chaser. So I bet that was a brilliant moment.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, and every day I do the chase. It's a privilege. It's like being in the Beatles, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm sort of adored, revered, vilified, whatever, by not just people in Britain, but in other parts of the world. And I've done the show in Australia, like Mark has, like Anne has. Mark used to be the original chaser in the United States. So it just goes to show the international appeal of the show. And I suppose it all stems from me as a chaser.
And on the road trip as well, I remember you was bumped into a fan in Tokyo, so it just shows how worldwide it's become.
Yeah, it's just mad. And we did, although they broadcast that show in January of this year, we actually filmed it 2 years previously. So, it was a question of trying to fit that program into the ITV scheduling. And it was just a phenomenal success.
Because I was going to say, how did you enjoy that road trip? Because you got to travel different countries and learn about the knowledge of children, how clever they are, animals and robots. And like you said, when it aired, you had a big interest in robots. How did you enjoy that road trip?
I thoroughly enjoyed the whole experience. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Japan, and to be able to go to Japan to actually go on the sort of busman's working holiday was just fantastic, really. So I thoroughly enjoyed the experience working with my fellow chasers. We were out of our comfort zone, and it just goes to show how versatile we are as a trio to do other things other than simply answering questions on a quiz show.
Because we got to see like a different side to you, like what it's like you're experiencing stuff in normal life, and I thought it was brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you ever plan to do another one, or do you think that one covered all that you needed for the?
Well, it's a matter if ITV think the actual format's got legs. It's a matter for them. They may put us in a different format other than intelligence, looking at something else. Who knows? We don't know. It'd be nice if they did, but we just have to wait and see if that happens.
Yeah, hopefully it will, because personally I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and so did the public by all accounts. So it was really, really good.
Another thing I'd like to know, Shaun, apart from quizzing, obviously you are a massive football fan. What else do you like to do do you have any hobbies that keep you interested?
Well, I keep myself fit. I'm currently injured at the moment because I injured my hamstring going right, because I like to run. I normally do 2,000 ab crunches every morning. So I like to basically keep myself fit where I can. I like to go on holiday when I can. So those are the sort of things I like to do to keep myself occupied, really.
Leading on from fitness and challenges, you appeared on a show back in November, Don't Rock the Boat, which appeared physically challenging, but you seemed to cope very well. How was your experience on that?
That was probably the most physically and mentally demanding thing I've ever had to do, especially for an old 60-year-old guy like myself. So, but I prepared and trained well. And, everybody who took part in it in terms of the celebrities got on very, very well. And, we still keep in touch with each other on a sort of group chat. Moreover, my mate Craig Charles was on the opposite team. I was actually his phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So, we get on very, very well.
And how was it rowing the whole length of the course from Cornwall, if I'm right, to Scotland?
It was really hard, Baker. When I say hard, it really, really was hard. The last row we did was the most daunting because it was a race. and both myself and Jack Fincham, the Fincham and Wallace show, we got on very, very well. We were like, me and Jack got on very, very well. That was a very, very hard, challenging road. Doing a base sprint for about 8 miles in very, very choppy water in and around the sort of Scottish coast was really hard. But we got through it, and that was the most important thing. And although we came up short in the end, I was proud of what I did, and I'll always look back on that fondly in my tender years.
And you filmed it the August prior to the November it aired, if I'm right. And how long were you filming it for? Because the show ran for a week.
We actually shot that in the summer, so we started actually in the early August, and we finished the first week in September. So by and large, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
From the top of Cornwall right to from the bottom of Cornwall right to the sort of tip of Scotland, it was good.
But that was a brilliant show. Like I say, you said you were 60, but you were the best on it.
I wouldn't go that far. It's really nice for you to say, Baker. Actually, I had the best record out of all the 12 contestants because out of the 5 road challenges everybody had to do, I won 4 of them, and I never lost a land challenge. So, I wouldn't say I was the best, but I was just as competitive as my fellow competitors because they had to work hard. Again, we were out of our comfort zone doing something which you don't normally do. But every single one of us rose to the challenge.
Yeah, and like I said, that was brilliant. As you mentioned earlier, back in 2018, you released your autobiography, Chasing the Dream. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, as I said to you, what prompted me to write it, Baker, is that in the aftermath of me losing the Eggheads Grand Final, I sat in my car listening to Steely Dan's greatest hits, wondering where it all went wrong. And within that hour, I was reflecting on my life in relation to the sort of ups and downs of my life. It's not always been plain sailing. As I say, 20 years ago, I was Shaun Who. Now that I'm a sort of prominent name in the public eye. So I wanted to write my autobiography from people charting my existence from the day I was born right up to my 48th year, because I wanted people to realise that I wasn't born famous, I wasn't born clever, and I also want people to realise, and one of the messages that come out of the book is that I've had my fair share of setbacks and ups and downs, and I want people to realise that if you do have ups and downs in life, that is not the beginning and the defining a moment of your life. Your future isn't behind you because of that setback. Yeah, it's disappointing at the time, but you've got to actually find something within yourself and have the support network who've got your best interests at heart to help and guide you and push you back onto the path. So that's why I wrote it. So I want people to realise that it's not all been plain sailing, and hopefully the people who've read it have been totally inspired by it because they can identify with my story.
And what I'll do is, Shaun, I will leave the link in this video to your book in case people want to read it after listen to this.
Baker, you should read it yourself, mate. You'd be totally inspired, honestly.
I definitely will be, Shaun. Yes.
And if you do read it, let me know, because once you finished it, I'll sign it for you personally.
Oh, that would be a pleasure. Thanks, Shaun. But I'll definitely be reading it. Yeah.
Good.
What I'd like to know now is Beat the Chasers.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big hit in January. It also aired the year before.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about this? Obviously, it's a different format. We get to see contestants come on and play all of you chasers when you're all together, but they get different options for how many they'd like to take on for what amount of money. What is it that you like about this?
What I like about it is that, it shows the 4 of us or the 5 of us, and now 6 of us, working together for the first time as a team. It flips the buzzer aspect of it, because obviously the contestants are not on a buzzer, but we are. So sometimes we can get in our ways, sometimes we make mistakes, and as you can see, sometimes, we can see the physical manifestation of chasers sort of coming to blows with Jenny hitting me and Mark having a few words. So it does happen. So I think that's what makes the show more exciting. The Chasers producers have been working on that format for the past 2 years and need to sort of tweak it and perfect it. So it's just a fantastic show. It's just really good. So we've just finished filming series 3. So that I don't know when that's going to be aired, probably sometime in the spring. And in the summer, we'll be filming series 4. So it's going to go on and on and on.
Because I thought it was brilliant because we got to see us all together, which we haven't before.
Yeah, exactly.
There was 5 of yous, but as Dara filmed the next series.
I can't comment on that. You'll have to wait and see whether or not that's the case. So all I can simply say is watch series 3 and that all will be revealed.
What I'd like to know is now, obviously, we've seen you together on that, but out of sort of filming the chase, do you and the rest of the chasers stay like in close contact? Like, are you a close-knit group?
We are. We're very, very good friends. And when Mark became a chaser, one of the things me and him basically agreed that in order for the show to be a success, we had to have respect for each other's ability as a quizzes.
Yeah.
There can't be any egos. Yes, obviously, if you were to look at the statistics, certain chasers are going to win more times than other chasers, but it doesn't mean to say that chaser who wins the least is any less of a quiz giant than his fellow chasers. So we've all had that sort of respect for each other. Although we live in different parts of the country, I see Paul more regularly than others because me and Paul play in the same quiz team. So Paul, like me, we both live in the London area. So I'm in regular contact with Paul. And obviously I'm in contact with the others from text and whenever we get together in the studio. But by and large, we get on very, very well. And
you obviously host quizzes regularly. Is it every Wednesday or Thursday night on your Facebook?
Yeah, every Wednesday night is my Facebook Live quiz. I host about 3 different quizzes per week. But that's the main public one where people can join. And people love it. And I give out prizes, a signed photograph. And I'm going to be giving out even more special prizes once I get my act together, like T-shirts and things like that. So that will be coming soon.
Would you say your 2 favourite subjects as a chaser then would be football and history?
I would say it's sport.
Yeah.
No, sorry. History and sport.
Yeah, like sport all around.
Yeah, sport all around, but mainly history's first. Everybody knows because I can remember dates, the actual day it actually happened.
Yeah.
So you've seen that when I can actually, people are astonished how I can remember the actual day it happens because of my love of history.
Yeah, and obviously you have got a very good knowledge of football. So I have had someone send in a football question for you, which we'll get to at the end.
Okay.
But before that, this week, a new show aired on ITV Hub called The Chase Extra. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? And
what happened in the summer, because of the pandemic, obviously we haven't been in the studio for a while, so the Chase producers asked both myself and Jenny to do what was called a Chase Extra, where we had to actually do it at home. So they sent me filming equipment where I asked 10 questions. And after asking those questions, I would then tell my sort of notorious cheesy jokes and then give the answers. So, the feedback was fantastic. So what they decided to do was to add more sort of production effect while making sure we did it in the studio. So all 6 of us are now doing it. So it's really, really good apparently by all accounts. I've not actually seen the final edit, but I've heard it's really, really good.
And the new episode airs at 6 p.m. every weekday after the Chasers finished it. Yeah. Finally, Shaun, I'd like to thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking to you.
My pleasure, mate. Thank you so much.
We look forward to hearing. We look forward to seeing the next series of Beat the Chasers. Yeah. But finally, this question is from my uncle Mike. He said, "Can you name the first £1,000 player?" £100,000 player.
The first, I think the first £1,000 player was a guy called Alf Common.
Yep.
In 1905. The first £10,000 player, I think, was David Jack, who scored the very first goal at Wembley. The first £100,000 player, although Jimmy Greaves signed for £999,999, I think the first £100,000 player was Johnny Haynes. The first £200,000 player was Martin Peters. The first £500,000 player was Phil Parkes, and at the time he was the world's most expensive goalkeeper. Also, and the first £1 million player was Trevor Francis.
Wow. Shaun, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Cheers, Baker.
I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Shaun for giving us his time today. We've really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed too. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. See you next week.